I don't think he wants out of Houston. I think he just wants, a better situation than what he's had over the last few years. There's been a lot of unrest in their front office. They've had their general manager and coach fired, a lot of different turnovers since he's been there. And he just doesn't feel like he's had the supporting cast to go along with the way he's played over the last few years. This is a guy that comes from a Clemson program where he won a national championship. He lost another one in the championship. So he's used to winning football, and it just hasn't been that way for his team this past year. And he sees them going in a downward slide. So he's looking for whoever the next coach is going to be. That's going to have a lot to do with whether they go in the right direction or not. So I think that's his biggest concern.
What does Houston need to do so Deshaun feels like they are on the right path and where he is content, at least that things are going in the right direction and they're getting better, not getting worse?
Well, I know they hired a general manager from the New England Patriots, Nick Caserio. I don't know how he feels about that because that's where Bill O'Brien came from.
Right.
He came from
Well, he had sent out that tweet, Warren, like, here we go again. And some people thought that meant the signing of the guy from
the general manager. So they're not a team that, especially up in New England, that has done a great job of drafting wide receivers, and that's something that he needs there in Houston to be able to help him. There's some wide receiver help. So I think the coach, whoever that coach is that comes in, it's got to be somebody that Deshaun really feels good about, that feels like it's going to take him to the next level.
Have you been advising him? Have you talked to him about this situation and what he's going through right now?
I have not talked to him yet, but I want to talk to him, just to see and get his feelings. I try not to bother any of these guys that I have relationships with throughout the season. We communicate mainly through text, but now that the season is over and he has a little bit more time, I would definitely like to talk to him about it and get his thoughts on it.
What will your advice be to him if he was to say, hey, Warren, what should I do as somebody who's been there before? What should I do here? What would you say to Deshaun?
Well, talk to the leadership of the team, the owner and the new general managers, see what their thought process is about what coaches they're looking at to bring in, and see if that fits in with what his thinking is. Because I know there are several teams around the National Football League that would love to have Deshaun Watson as their quarterback because of everything he stands for, not only on the field, but also off the field. But I think he literally loves playing in Houston. He loves the city. He's involved in it a lot. But he definitely wants to win. And if he doesn't feel like he can win in Houston, he'll want to go somewhere else.
What's your gut tell you? Next year, is he the quarterback of the Texans?
I think so. I think if they really sit down and listen to this guy and listen to what his feelings are, they'll give him a lot of input into who that next head coach is going to be. And if that happens, I think he'll be happy there because he'll have the type of situation that he's looking for to move forward so he can feel like there's some light at the end of the tunnel.
There's some talk about Cam Newton with the Ron Rivera connection, possibly finding his way to Washington. What do you make of that? Is that something that Washington should look into with how Cam played this year? Would he be a viable option for them at quarterback?
Well, I would have thought that Washington would have went after Cam when he first became available when Ron Rivera went to Washington, because Cam was available for them to sign, but they ended up signing Allen, his backup quarterback in Carolina. So they didn't sign on Cam. They passed up on him. So I don't know if they would go after him again this offseason. But again, that's a place maybe Deshaun Watson ends up if he's not happy with the Houston Texans. Why wouldn't you want to have a young Deshaun Watson come into Washington to play as opposed to Cam, somebody who's probably at the end of his career? So it just depends on what you're looking for. What flavor are you looking for?